Hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of Lowkey Chaotic. Oh my God, there are so many new people here today. Hi, I'm so happy that you're here. Welcome to the Chaos family. I know that a lot of you found me through last week's episode where we spoke about the male gaze, what it is, how it shows up, that invisible little camera in your head that you can't turn off. And I thought, okay, let's build on that because a lot of you commented on TikTok, on Instagram, also on the podcast itself on Spotify. And I want to go through some of those comments later, but the main comment that I want to recite right now is the one that inspired the topic of this episode, which is, are we allowed to enjoy the male gaze? So the comment was, ugh, yes, but also, am I allowed to see myself as a man sees me and enjoy it? Am I allowed to enjoy the feeling of men looking at me? Sometimes I want men to look and sometimes I don't. Sometimes I want to exist free of their gaze, but not always, because truthfully, being desired gives me pleasure. So many thoughts, ... And I love this comment so much. It really encapsulates the complexity of it all. So let's get into it. What if we actually like the male gaze sometimes? Is that bad? Is it hypocritical? Or is it just human? So here's where I want to start. We touched upon this in last week's episode, where we said the male gaze isn't just an individual man looking at you. It's not always just some guy sitting there across the street. Sometimes it's the man in your head who's the product of decades of forces shaping what we think is beautiful, worthy, and lovable. And these forces, they are everywhere. Culture, economy, history, beauty standards, advertising, wellness trends. It doesn't fucking stop. And they're all overlapping and reinforcing each other until it's this like invisible rule book that none of us asked for, none of us agreed to follow, but we all somehow got handed the day we were born. And the crazy part is that most of the time, we're not even consciously performing for it. It's autopilot. It's in how we cross our legs, how we angle our faces in photos. Like it's these little micro adjustments that we don't even notice we're making at all fucking times. So where does this male gaze actually get its power from? Because like I said, it's not just like men looking at women. It's a whole bunch of forces that overlap and work together to keep it alive and honestly make it profitable. And I think you can guess the first one or probably all of them because they're like relatively obvious. We have capitalism, of course. I mean, whole industries depend on us feeling like we're not enough, whether it's razors or lip gloss or fillers or hair appointments, like billions of dollars in products and services that like promise to improve us, right? And it's not just about the money we spend. Even when we're not buying anything, our looks can still be making someone else money. Like we post a hot selfie and it gets a bunch of likes and people then stay in the app longer, they scroll more, they see more ads, and the app makes more money. Like that's literally how these platforms work, right? So they sell our attention. So even our free content, our faces, our bodies, our outfits are still a part of like someone else's profit machine, essentially. And then there's like, of course, Eurocentric beauty standards. The gaze wasn't built for everyone. It was built for whiteness. You have like this like standard of thin and light skinned and light features and symmetrical features and straight hair. And if you don't fit into that, you're either invisible or you're being fetishized. And there's rarely ever any in between. And that, of course, directly connects to white supremacy and colonialism. Like colonization didn't just bring laws and borders. It brought a value system, right? And a part of that system was the belief that European features and skin tones and body types were superior. And those ideals spread globally like fucking wildfire through media, through advertising, through workplace rules. Think hair discrimination or bans on natural styles, skin bleaching, hair straightening, and things like cosmetic surgery in non-Western countries to westernize features are literally billion-dollar industries. And that's not an accident. That's the legacy of colonial beauty ideals still alive today. And then you have, of course, advertising and celebrity culture where we're shown the same body type, the same face over and over until our brains start to believe it's the default. And the wild part is even when we know the image is photoshopped or surgically altered, it still gets us because repetition works. Like, that's literally how advertising functions. And all of these forces together, they don't just keep the male gaze alive, they keep it making money. And I know that, like, you know, sometimes you play into the gaze without even realizing it, and sometimes you do it on purpose. And I know we've probably all done both. Like, the amount of times I'd shave just for my ex or wear those over the knee stockings that he liked purely to get his approval because I liked it when he liked me. Or like this one time on New Year's Eve, I wore this sheer white gothic looking blouse. You can probably scroll back on my personal Instagram and find it. But men were like, they were literally, when I tell you, they were treating me like I was Cleopatra. Like, I'm talking, kissing the back of my hand, carrying me around, bringing me things like I was fucking royalty. And I was low-key shook that I enjoyed it. Like, part of me was thinking, wow, this is fucking lit. And another part of me was like, wait, this is fucking insane. All I had to do was get my titties out. Like, what? And of course I could never pull that on like a random Tuesday at 2 p.m. because strangers fucking terrify me. Like, the only reason I could do this was on that night was because I knew everyone at that party. But regardless of all that, yeah, whether it's dressing up in lingerie for my ex or shaving for him, even though I almost never shave, or doing like a full 20-step body and face routine before a date, those are like the moments where we're like peak pinnacle performing for men, right? And the funny part is, like, I remember doing that like 20-step routine for this one date that I had and literally thinking the whole time while I was doing it, oh my God, I'm doing this for a man. Why am I doing this for a man? As I kept doing it for a man. Like, instead of walking into a date being like, okay, let's see if I even fucking like him. It's like, no, I walk in there thinking, oh my God, I need to make sure he likes me. And yeah, I can wear lingerie and put on that dress or that blouse and shave my body and look in the mirror and think, damn, I look hot. But then immediately I'm like, do I actually feel hot because I think I'm hot? Or is it because I know this is what I'm supposed to look like when I'm hot? Or am I feeling sexy, or am I just feeling male gaze approved? Like, the worst part is a lot of the time I genuinely don't know the motherfucking answer. And I think I'm so obsessed with, and I think this is why I'm so obsessed with women that can do this on command. You know what I mean? Like, the ones who can tap into their desirability like it's a superpower. I think Julia Fox, Megan Fox are like my favorite examples. I mean, obviously Julia Fox is way different from Megan Fox because she became famous as this like male gaze sex object and now completely flipped the script. Like, yes, she's still like provocative, but she's not provocative in a sense where like she stereotypically dresses for the male gaze still. No, it's like the complete opposite. Now she still shows up half naked to places, but in fashion that pushes that boundary on what society deems as attractive. And she always pairs it with this open critique of the patriarchy and capitalism. Love her down. Like, she's so fucking cool. And honestly, if we're talking about like women who can switch on their desirability like on command and use it as a tool to like benefit from, I've seen this in real life so many times. Like, I have so many friends who are fully tapped into this energy. Like, they're the kind of hot that Instagram loves. The perfectly curated feeds, the outfits, the hair, the whole thing. And they get invited on like luxury trips by rich people. Like, wherever they go, they get compliments and free food and gifts, and doors just seem to fucking open for them, right? And honestly, like I said, I'm in awe of this because I genuinely think it's a skill. Like, they can step into a room and flip a switch and suddenly they're magnetic. Like, people want to be around them. People want to give them things. It's like they know exactly how to play the game and they're not afraid to play it. But it also freaks me out because the idea of intentionally giving men what they want makes me deeply uncomfortable unless I'm in love with them. Because I feel like I totally have BPD, but that's an episode for another day. But in general, I have this like little patriarchy committee in my head at all times holding constant meetings about whether it's morally okay to be sexy right now. You know what I mean? And every time I even think about playing into it, this like alarm in my head goes off that goes like, wait, are we fueling the system? Is this bad? Are we letting men win? And part of me is like, yeah, it's bad. Because why do we have to go through all of this to get what we want while men are allowed to just exist? And part of me hates that capitalism also has fueled so many transactional relationships, like this whole you give me desirability and I give you resources dynamic bullshit. But then there's like another part of me that's like, why do I hate it? If someone can get paid or get what they want, like using what they have, isn't that just playing the game to survive? Why not let people cash in if they can? Low key, I think also the danger is in seeing the male gaze only as empowerment. And the danger is in seeing it only as oppression. If you see it only as empowerment, you risk ignoring how it reinforces the system. And if you see it only as oppression, you take away the way you're benefiting from it, right? So the truth is, it can be both, and it is both. Oh my God. That was like a motherfucking speech I just held there. But before we wrap up, we have to like talk about some of the comments from last week's episode, because honestly, they're a perfect example of how messy and layered this whole male gaze conversation in real life is. Comment number 1. I saw this, like, this was the most popular one. I saw this a few times. And it was under the video where I was like, you're a woman with a man inside your head watching a woman, right? And this comment was commented multiple times by multiple different people, and it said, it's not a man in my head, it's my mother. And I'm just like, babe, yes, but your mom is passing down those same forces, right? Like the male approval, the beauty standards, the patriarchy. She didn't invent them. She just learned them, lived them, and handed them to you. And that's not about blaming her. It's just about understanding that a lot of the gaze gets inherited before we're even conscious of it. Like that mother in your head, that's a man in your head in form of your mother. You know what I'm saying? Another comment that made me chuckle was like, bold of you to assume that I have that many thoughts before I leave the house looking homeless. So true, because same, like I don't wake up and I put on my baggy outfits and I'm like, yes, today we're rebelling against the male gaze. No, like, of course not. But even on like even lazy day outfits exist in a world that's already decided what presentable is. Even if you're not consciously thinking about the gaze, your choices still exist inside a system that has shaped what's seen as attractive, respectable, or worth noticing. You feel me? And I think that like a lot of people do this where they, you know, when people say things like, oh, partying isn't political, not all art isn't always political. And I'm like, babe, yes, everything is absolutely political. And I think people forget this or don't realize this. And maybe this is an episode we can do next week or whenever. Let me know in the comments. Then another comment was under the video where I was like, do you really think shaving your head is rejecting the male gaze? And this guy commented, I can assure you shaving your head is unattractive. And I'm like, this is like exhibit A, right? We're not even talking about men. We're talking about systems, conditioning, beauty standards, and how women navigate them. And somehow the male gaze finds a way to make itself the center of attention once again. Like the second a man chimes in with, well, I can assure you it's unattractive, the focus just shifts back to him and his opinion and his desire and his approval. And that's the thing. Like the male gaze is like a gravitational pull. Even when the conversation starts about women, it keeps trying to drag us back into an orbit around what men want. It is so tiring. And I think a funny observation I made was this one video, the one I just referenced with the shaving your head as rejecting the male gaze. I found it hilarious how people interpret things so differently, right? Like this one person called me a Trump supporter. She was like, girl, did you vote for Trump? And then another person under that same video like thought I was another like woke extremist lefty. And I was like, that's so interesting. Like people will literally project their own worldview onto you no matter what you actually say. And this is just homage to like everybody just got to do whatever it is the fuck they want to do, because you will never be able to control people's like thoughts and opinions of you. People will literally just project onto you whatever the fuck it is that they want. And I just thought that was so interesting, because there was nothing in that video that said either of those things about me, right? Like, of course, I'm not a fucking Trump supporter. Are you crazy? But I get where she's getting that from, because me saying, do you really think shaving your head is rejecting the male gaze, makes it sound like I'm like pushing this trad wife shit onto people, right? Like, it's actually funny. But anyways, I think those are all the comments that I wanted to speak on. So let's conclude the episode. This is where I like land after all of this. The male gaze isn't something that you can just opt out of completely. It's baked into so many of our choices, our interactions, our self-image, sometimes without us even realizing it, or not even sometimes, I feel like also very often. And sometimes we'll reject it, sometimes we'll lean into it, and sometimes we'll do both in the same week. And that doesn't make us like bad feminists, and it doesn't mean we're giving into the system. It just means we're people trying to live in a reality where these forces exist, right? So maybe it's not about chasing this idea of a completely pure 100% independent decision, because honestly, I feel like that might not even exist, because everything we do is touched by the systems we live in. But what we can do is like own this awareness. We can clock when the male gaze is in the room with us, like in our choices, in our reflections, in the way we're being treated. We can notice when we're leaning into it, when we're rejecting it, and when we're doing both at the same damn time. And that awareness changes the experience, because even if the forces are still here, you're not sleepwalking through them anymore. You feel me? And whether you're in a lingerie or sweatpants outfit, like whether you're soaking in the attention or wanting to ignore it completely, at least you know what's at play. And that, I think, is where some of the real power lies. And yeah, I think that's all my thoughts on that for today. I love you guys. I'm excited for next week. Let me know in the comments what you thought about this episode, and let me know in the comments what you want to hear more about. Bye bye. Speak next week. Love y'all.